Hello everyone, Elron here with part 40 of my NGN Dark Souls run. And so, given the fact that these guys are so slow and it looks pretty obvious what the plan is, I decided I would transition mid-combat, despite my general policy of trying to cut things off in non-combat situations. But as you can see, these guys move very slowly. We've got plenty of room to wiggle, and we've got the pyromancies. And I'm not sure what was going on there. But in any case, we're continuing our fight. And so, actually, just outside of this giant tree here that we've been climbing down is going to be the second Hydra. You probably remember fighting one in the forest. We cheesed him behind a rock. Well, we're going to cheese this one behind some bamboo. This one supposedly is the tougher of the two to fight, legitimately at least. But he seems to be easier for us to cheese because we're going to be much closer, which means we only need like 1 or 2 hits onto the heads to make them fall off. And also we can kind of see through the bamboo more easily. So, I get to this bonfire here, and I'm surprised to not see Sigmir and his daughter here. So it's like, okay, plan B, plan B. But I get distracted and see a Hydra. I mean, I knew the Hydra was there, of course, but and for whatever reason, I'm taking pot shots from this distance. Kind of pointless. Looks like the Hydra's fighting the oysters. The Hydras seem to be on nobody's team. The Hydras, you know, just want to kill anything that moves. But we got this big bamboo over here, and so we're going to take full advantage of that. And so now we're going to take out some heads. And you probably didn't notice this in the forest Hydra fight, but if you did aggro a bunch of golems and bring them close to the Hydra will basically fight you and the golems indiscriminately. They just consider any moving target to be a enemy. So I think at this point I decide to switch to the longbow to get that little bit of extra damage. I think it saves me 1 hit per kill or something like that. Generally worth it. It also means that we'll ultimately end up destroying this thing with less arrows, which in the grand scheme of things doesn't mean that much to us, but for people out there that don't like to be wasteful, could mean more. And then, as you can see, we can shoot through this bamboo, but there were a couple of arrows that did snag to the bamboo, so we gotta kind of make sure that we're not snagging. Like, there we go, we're snagging again some on the right. We snagged on the left a little earlier. And just like before, if we've destroyed enough of these heads, we can kind of reposition, see if there's a spot that we can feel is safe. Because, you know, the difficulty of this guy, you know, is proportional to the number of heads he has. because basically each head is tossing a ball of water synchronously. So if you have 20 heads, then that is 20 balls of water that you need to dodge. But if you only got like 3 or 4 heads, that's 3 or 4 balls of water that you need to dodge. And so basically the risk to reward ratio constantly changes with the number of heads that you've killed, because now that there's only 1 head left, correction, 0 heads left. So, well, let's say there was 1 head left. That's not going to be a lot of damage in the grand scheme of things. I mean, all 20 water balls hitting you at once is going to be a very devastating thing indeed. But, once you've got like 3 heads worth, that's not going to kill you. And in the forest version of the Hydra, those final 3 heads are going to be very tough to hit because you're blind firing through a much thicker set of trees, and you're generally not seeing what you're doing. But here it wasn't quite as necessary. Now these oysters that have skulls in its mouth, this is where you would go if you want to legitimately farm Twinkling Titanite. And I forgot to switch back to the shield, so I tried to put the shield up, but instead get my bow into the shooting position. And so it's kind of sad. There's no real good way to know if there's an item on these corpses or not without walking in, and walking in always gives you that feeling that maybe it's playing possum, even though that's impossible. That's not how the game works. But in any case, the glow is just too small, so you don't see it. And so this time he had nothing, and that looked just like the guy who had something. So these guys have Twinkling, and then they also have Purging Stone, I believe it was called. What that essentially does is it takes Curse and kills it without having to pay a humanity to some douchebag. So certainly a nice thing to have. Although we're not planning on getting cursed anytime soon, so it's not that big of a deal. And so now we are going to continue making our way through here. And the Dragon Covenant is out here. Basically there's some dragon that wants you to give him a bunch of scales, and then he'll give you the capacity to turn into a dragon-headed being, and then also a dragon torsoed being if you provide enough scales. Supposedly there was a good way to duplicate souls doing that, but either it was never adequately explained in the instructions of how to do it, or it got patched forever ago. In either case, it doesn't seem like it's going to be too much of an option. And we don't care because we've got better ways. I mean, this way takes less effort once you've got the initial setup of being in the Covenant. But it's much easier for us to have Witch Beatrice kill the Moonlight Butterfly than to come all the way out here at level 1. But in any case, that's going to be it for this video. I will see you next video. Good luck, have fun.